Hi guys, it's Salston. In this video, we are going to take a look into QA Pop, which is a growth marketing tool for Quora platform. In this video, I'm going to give you a bit introduction about Quora, why you might need something like this, what are the pros and cons of the tool to make an informed decision whether you need it or not. Okay, without further ado, first let me give you a brief introduction about Quora. Quora is one of the biggest questions and answer platform in the internet with a lot of search traffic. What do I mean by that is that most of its questions gets tend to ranked on Google for the first pages depending on the competition. Not every single keyword or question is going to rank on the top position, but if you do a reverse engineering, you might find some of the question do rank on the search traffic, and it also has a huge community base. So whenever a question gets asked and whenever answer is provided, it provide more chances for getting more leads or more exposure to your answer or brands mentioned in the answers or any links. So that is where the potential of Quora lies in. The problem with Quora is that everyone knows that it is one of the biggest community and platform out there for leads and traffic. So there is oversaturation of all the possible promotion, sharing, answers, and everything. For example, when we are looking into a question, we tend to see a lot of answers. So we need to be able to find the right questions to answer, or ranking questions to answer, or question which has the most potential to answer. And there might be a lot of answers questions where even if you write a really good answer, it might not get ranked on the top within the answer section, or might be still not getting enough exposure. So that is the problem lies in from a marketer perspective. And in this video, we are going to see how a tool like QA Pop is going to help us or not regarding in this kind of problem. So without further ado, now let me directly jump into the QA Pop application itself. And you can see this is the backend of the product. I have just purchased this product and to create this test video for you and explain it. Basically, the dashboard looks really easy to understand. For example, once you logged in, they do provide a list of steps so to guide you on the right way to use the tool, or to give some more instructions on what is the best possible ways to find out the best out of this tool. And they do give you some understanding on your limit or what kind of this features or limits you have according to your plan. Basically, it is divided into four main category. One is the dashboard with the recent opportunity analysis, or like a report I did for each of my questions, and a report section, tracking, and content draft. I'm going to go by one to give you a better understanding of it. As soon as you come into this space, first you need to click on new analysis in order to analyze a new market. When you click on it, it will open up in something like this kind of a dashboard where it's asking us to give top three keywords related to your business. So we can't do any keyword research directly from QA Pop. It is not designed in a way like that. You just give a broad, you don't want to give a too focused keyword because you might be missing on some important questions, because even a user won't be asking with the exact long tail keyword. So just give a something common. For example, in this case, if I'm trying to promote, let's say this my SEO guide article, I want to see what kind of potential out there in Quora to promote something like this. So I'm just going to do something like search engine optimization, SEO ranking, something like that. Just I'm going to give three keywords, and once you pressed comma, it creates a separate keyword for you. Now I'm going to click on continue. For example, once I done that, it's going to ask you couple more questions to understand it. Basically, it's asking whether I'm already active on Quora. If I click on yes, it's just going to ask me the profile URL. I found that it pulls out some basic information from your Quora profile also. So if you already have a profile, you can go ahead and paste it here, or if you don't have, you can click on no. For example, in this case, I'm going to show you what kind of data it does bring it. So this is one of my Quora profile. and I'm going to paste that particular URL into this. And once that is done, it goes to the third screen and the final screen where it's asking me what where my target audience is based. If you know, you can pick it out. And I think it's currently more focused on USA and India. I'm not sure why other countries are not mentioned here. I would have preferred to see all the other options as well, but you can choose here and other, and I didn't find a worldwide audience setup also. So this is a limiting option, to be honest. You can choose whatever the one you want. In this case, since there is no way for me to know which is the correct one, I'm just going to select all three, and we are asked to choose what kind of business you do. So is it a B2C or other? I'm just going to press let's say B2C, and what best describes your business. Again, this is depending on your need. You choose whichever the one you want. Let's say, for example, in this case, I'm going to go with e-commerce and see what kind of data it brings. And if I have a website URL, so I'm just going to paste this particular URL and see what kind of results it's bring. So that is usually the wizard step of it. Now it should ideally bring back the summary data, not the in-depth one for this particular keyword set. So you can see the report is ready, and it's giving me a basic understanding of what kind of is it a very high traffic keyword. I don't find this much useful as I want, because I know that these are really high value big keywords. So whenever I entered it, I automatically knows that it's going to be popular on Quora also. So this is the summary section it provides, and it also brings this kind of predefined answer. Here also it's a common one. It shows for all the different reports, nothing unique. For example, it's just if your audience is in USA or India, it automatically shows that it is in that model, gives you some kind of basic summary on the ad and business model for B2C and B2B, and weekly questions answer. Again, I didn't find this summary section to be fully useful for me from a marketing perspective. And if I go down, now we are able to see top 10 questions, so sort of like a quick analysis of the question Quora market. What happens here is, for example, if I go into Quora and type for something like SEO and set it on questions, we are just seeing this particular list of questions. So we are seeing different questions, but there is no way for me, for example, to get more data on these questions. We can get a question more data if we go into it and see something like we know now this, it has 331 comments, 100 plus answers. I don't have any idea on number of views or anything like that. We can see the upvotes and everything, but we have to go one by one in order to do that. What QA app does, QA pop does it, it try to bring some sort of all the information without even visiting the question, and only if you are interested on any of these questions, you can click on it to go into that question. For example, QA Pop Score is something like their internal score where they use their traffic metrics with the number of answers to show what are the question which has more potential. So you can get a maximum, at least try to get more exposure for your answers when you are writing for it. It shows the Quora traffic, what is the keyword it brought this questions, number of followers for that, total number of views, answers, top votes and everything. So if you click on it, it also mentions what are the associated topic with this question. So you can always make sure you follow these kind of sections, or when you're highlighting, you can make sure these things are mentioned. So it's here just showing you the top 10. I would say this is more like a summary view to get an idea on what kind of market you are looking into it, and see what kind of traffic potential is there, and to give you a bit more understanding on this. So this is a basic overview screen which shows the top 10 question depending on your need. So you can see if you are just going to answer something, you might take this into consideration. For example, I can probably sort it by number of view to see what are the most viewed question on this particular section, or I can do it by the traffic. I'm not sure how accurate these traffic sources are because they are taking it from that. So depending on that, you can see from followers, all these things. So this is a quick summary. But if I want to create a full marketing report to see what kind of advanced data available, Now let's do that and see what kind of data it brings. So I'm going to click on create a full marketing report, and now it's asking me to create a full report here. For example, I'm going to name it like SEO tutorial guide. Let's see, do something like that. Here we are going to define keywords. As you can see, we have already 3 keywords. The purpose of giving different keywords here is that it's going to use these keywords to extract different questions. For example, you can see there are 3 keywords, and you can see the number of questions per keyword I have entered as 10. So it's expected to return 30 different keywords. So if we are adding more keywords, let's say for example uh, SEO basics, then you can see the number is increased to 40. So it's basically to bring more relevant keywords. So according to the questions you want and the credits you want to consume within your account, you choose the number of keywords here. And also we can't essentially see any data for this keyword, so you should have already known which are the top keywords you want to go for from another keyword research tool or some from your experience, because you just are just pasting those keywords here. And you have some relevancy option as well. It is also different for each niche. For example, if it's a time sensitive niche, or you are only cared about the questions within a particular time frame, then you can choose whatever the time frame depending on your need. But here SEO is a evergreen niche. Everyone is going to try to learn on any time. So depending on your niche, you can choose all time, and you can obviously choose how many questions you want. Currently the maximum is like one keyword, it's going to grab the 50 questions for you. If you want, you can go ahead, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to keep it at 10, and I'm also going to remove this particular one, so get faster report. Once you've done that, you are just going to click on explore data. Okay, now you can see that report is now finished. It took around 4 minutes, to be honest. So I have done this, and you can see basically the report contains 3 different sections. First one is the answer the best question. So basically it's showing me all the question it scraped. For example, as I mentioned, I put 10 into 3 keywords, so it brought 30 different questions for me. So depending on the limit you set, you can have different set of number of questions. So here also there is a basic filter to see question related to one particular keyword only. I would also love to see some kind of a custom filter here with the numerical value, so I can say make sure at least this views is there, at least this kind of relevancy, to give me more control, especially if I'm handling hundreds of keywords. Currently it's missing all those options. Here it shows all the 30 different questions it was able to get. For example, it shows the question with the hyperlink to go directly to the question, with the score, relevancy, Quora traffic, follower data, views, and everything. Again, you see all this data on the quick summary, but quick summary only shows the top 10 questions, but here it gives you the full list of questions as well. So you can filter. Currently only sorting option is available, nothing more deep filtering. Depending on here, you can go for it. For example, we have the Quora QApp score. You can see it shows the relevancy of my keyword which I provided the answer, what kind of traffic, what kind of views are there, what kind of answers are available. For example, something like this where it shows this, it has 20,000 views, but it has 16 answers only. Maybe I can try to go into that, or it shows the different ones here. So again, these data is not going to give you some kind of a concrete information on that these are the winning question, you should answer these or not. These are more just to give you some sort of extra insights on it, rather than just getting the blank list of URLs here to answer which you want to go for it. But with this kind of metrics, the idea behind it to give some sort of more information to you pick and choose which are the questions you want to answer and everything. So currently it's showing all the basic traffic. I would personally love to see something like a extra field here, like whether this question is ranking on the Google for the first position, or if is it already ranking for that, it could be a helpful factor. So if I know that these questions are already ranking on Google, let's say for example for the first on the first page, then I can pick from that option as well. But currently all these datas are within the Quora platform itself, and you can see currently they do this is the link to get to the content draft, where they are trying to create a sort of like a feature to create your article better with any existing content. I'll show you when I go into the content draft section. After that, we have the run core ads. So if I'm going into that, you can see it is also basically the same list of questions where we get, but you can notice there are a couple of different columns here. For example, contextual score, it shows that what are the best questions to run core ad with. So you can have a link to the knowledge base which shows the more details on it, and a behavior score as well. So you can see the same traffic, view, keywords, follower data is same, but when you go into the Quora ads, especially if you are planning to run an ad via Quora, it shows some more informational info into contextual score, behavior score, to give you better understanding on which are the right question for you or not. I don't have any experience on running ads on Quora, so I don't have any extra insights on how accurate or how useful this particular data is for you or not. Then there is the third tab which is called keyword ideas. Basically it's trying to show some kind of keyword idea it was able to bring up for each of my main topic. And you can see if I click on it, SEO, it's showing me all the unrelated SEO keyword, because SEO we already know, like it is like does bring some unrelated information, especially if you are trying to Twitter or these things, because SEO is commonly used in a word, city name and everything. So that is the reason you see unrelated data here. Let's say for example, if I go into search engine optimization, now we are able to see much more related keywords. Again, also this is not something very in-depth or something. I would say this is more like a beta version of this answers. Basically it shows the volume data, CPC, competition. This is not SEO competition or something like that. It also does not mention which is the competition it's mentioning. I think it's either PPC or something with Quora. I would have preferred they give me more insights on like a icon with info to give a better understanding on what each of this is does. And when I click on it, it just shows the trend search volume. Again, it's just a basic information, and you can see just if I click on it, it does bring couple of suggestions for me, but apart from that there is no much filtrations or anything which I can do, or it does not bring me more keywords here. And also I would love to see more list of keywords here with filters, and possibly with linking to any Quora insights into it, rather than just giving a PPC information here. So that is what keyword idea does, and advanced report does as well. And if I go into the tracking section of it, the idea behind tracking is something like you mention any keywords, or if you are on a market and you know that these are the main keywords associated with my business or the product which I'm trying to promote, the idea is to just enter those kind of keywords here and make sure you save the settings. And whenever a new questions gets discovered, they will check once per day. They will show the data here to go forward. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show this particular section because I just got it today, so there is no past record for me. I'll try to do a follow-up update on this section to show what kind of data it provides. Again, this setup is very basic. You can see just I need to give the stats and save setting. I would have preferred to go on in bit more advanced, especially like I put this, I can make sure to include negative keywords, or make sure that these are matching these kind of filters like number of views or something like that. Then I would get more control over the questions I want to see and track on that. So this is basically a daily email notification of all the new questions. And content draft, again, this is a beta functionality right now to help you to create more uh, relevant or easy answer for your data. I didn't find this to be much useful as I would want, but let me show you what it currently does. For example, when I click on create a new draft, it's asking me to give a question URL. I have already gone out and found a question URL, something like which I would love to answer. I provide that question URL, and here you either bring any blog post which potentially have good points to answer this particular questions. In this case, I'm going to bring my SEO tutorial guide because it is over 10,000 words. So this would be a good place for me to get some ideas towards it, and click on create content draft. So ideally what it will do is it will bring any content which I have written on the blog post to help you write a better answer for your Quora. So or at least that is the concept behind it. Let me show what kind of data it brings now. Okay, now you can see it has finished. Basically, it's just grabbing all the text within that particular content and giving me it in this left side of the screen. And you can see the rephrase option is ticked on, which means if I disable it, you can see these is the original content which is just copy pasting it. But when I click on rephrase, it just changing the words or using synonyms or trying to paraphrase that particular text line, which is a good usage of this kind of tool. But I would love to see much more rewriting the sentence, like a rewrite, like something to do with word tune or something like a full rewrite of the sentence rather than just couple of words. For example, if you see one of this example, this one, the aim is to give you clear understanding of search engine SEO optimization and how it works. When I click on it, you can see it's obviously taking a wrong word. I'm not sure why deck is coming there, and it's following the same logical order but exchanging some words for it. So here, let's see, go for couple more, like uh, let me give take a big one, like uh, it is a platform where you can search for something you want to learn more about it. It will present you with relevant information it has from its database. So when I click on rephrase, you can see most of the content is same. Like this is a platform where you search for what you want to know, it will provide. So it's not doing a full accurate job about it, and I don't expect this platform to do it because I want it to focus more on Quora and ranking on Quora, search traffic and everything. I would ideally love to see any kind of native integrations or integration with any other GPT writing platform, and we can obviously try to import those answers or those input from there to this sections of it. But it tries to do a rephrase of a basic job here. And if I go into this again, it provides some more options for you, like do I want to see the full content from that or show less content. Obviously it's going to pick some of the content from here. I don't know what is the criteria for all this, and obviously if you are using this, you might miss out on some important points you want to talk about it. And summarize the of keep only essential stuff. Again, I'm not sure how they are knowing which is the essential stuff to go about it. Maybe I think they are taking bold heading. You can see H3, it's mentioned bold letters, so we know that those are the highlighted one. Again, these are not fully useful for me as of right now. I would obviously love to see more improvement on this particular section to have a better option for me to create content. So basically this is the section here which shows all the different ones. You take whichever the input or the line you want and transfer it to create a better answer for it, and you go ahead and paste it. So basically this is currently still on beta. There are a lot of features I would love to see in this particular, or integrations to be much more useful. So basically QA pop is all those features right now. As of it now, we can see that it does bring some sort of extra insights, especially to see the list of questions, does bring more data into to find whether that is the question I want to go forward and target. But as I mentioned in throughout this video, I would see more in-depth features or much more valuable data on every single module going forward to make it really powerful to be a useful application within Quora marketing platform, because it has so much opportunities. So I would love to see all those changes kind of implemented, and also getting more work or integration within content draft as well. I hope this video was useful. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers.